I was recently asked to design a book cover, and this was the final product, and I thought I'd show a quick little walkthrough of how we pulled this off. It was a lot of fun working on the project. So anyways, this is the final product. We've got the front and the back, the spine, and yeah, let me walk you through kind of what we did for the shoot. So first of all, for the shoot, it was pretty straightforward. We knew that we were going to do a lot of compositing, so we chose to shoot her over just a solid black background. No big deal. Yeah, she was very patient with us. Spraying her in the face. Anyways, so yeah, so pretty straightforward. You can see we had two lights on her. So let me back up a little bit here, and you can just two main lights, just a backlight and a key light on her with some reflectors. And we went through and did a whole bunch of different setups. And as far as the winning shots, I can show you here. Let's see. These are some of the selects that we chose from. We just really wanted to feel out what her character was all about, and so we tried a couple different things. So here's some of the ones we really liked, that we felt like really kind of played toward her character. Ultimately, we ended up choosing this one. So let me open up Photoshop here and show you exactly kind of let's see the process, how we did this. So first of all, we had to lay out the dimensions of the book, the front, the back, and the spine, and how thick the whole thing was going to be. Secondly, after we nailed down the print dimensions, we placed in our shot. Let me actually put her in right there. So this was kind of the winning shot. We knew that there were some problems with it, so right off the bat, we gave her a bit of a tummy tuck and just separated her from the background. And it was mostly the fabric that was kind of folding over that caused that. So we just kind of tuck that in. We removed the background really quickly because it was over a solid background that was really quick to do. And the other thing we started doing was bringing in background elements. I knew that I felt like some water would be a cool element, so I shot a lake up by where I lived and shot it at nighttime. I really wanted this to have a really moody feel to it, and also kind of play out. We want to show a scene from the book, and this was a kind of a climax moment of the book, whereas at nighttime, so we wanted a nighttime feel. But the other thing was I needed a lot more elements. I needed some streams, I needed some trees, I needed to really bring this thing to life. So what we did was we went out and did another little shoot where, went out and shot all these different elements. Now you'll notice that all these things were shot in the daytime, but I'll show you a little trick we did to kind of give it more of that evening look. So let me actually pull open a shot in Camera Raw. This is I shot everything 5D Mark II. So let me show you really quick how to make something look like it was shot at night. So obviously this was shot during the day, long exposure, so we get that cool light, that cool effect on this water here. Now right off the bat, I want to cool this thing down, because if something is shot at night, it's got kind of a blue tint to it. So I'm going to take this way down to 2850. I'm also going to take this exposure way down to about negative. Right around here. I just want to really bring that exposure down. The other thing I want to do is bring the vibrance and the saturation down. It's just a little bit too saturated, so I'm going to bring the saturation down to about negative 50, and then the vibrance I'm going to bring down as well, just a little bit. So you can see right here, this is already starting to look pretty decent as far as kind of a nighttime look. And so let me bring this exposure down just a little bit more. So I'm pretty happy with that. And let me take this just down a little bit too. I think that's going to be it. So if I open that up, you can see I can start really playing with this as far as exposure and all that fun stuff. So once I had these different environments selected out, it was pretty straightforward. It was just a matter of layering these elements in. And I can show you here just some more background elements we started to bring in. There's our water. Brought in a tree and a bunch of foliage and things like that. Also thought it would be good to bring in some sort of castle element, so we brought that in as well. Now you can see here that she doesn't sit well in the environment. Her coloring isn't quite there, and so I just went through and just changed. You can see here's some very subtle adjustments. Her hue, saturation. Also darkened her up a bit, so it kind of make it feel like it's more of an evening shot with her. So we brought some different things down. Now, you can see it's lighting her face up a little bit. We weren't really happy with her hands, and so we addressed that later. And I'll show you here in a second. Still, I didn't feel like that was sitting quite where I wanted it. I wanted it to kind of feel like a moonlight, or the light was coming from the right-hand side, so kind of lit that a little bit stronger. You can see it starting to kind of really sit a little bit better in the environment. So here's some foreground elements I put in as well. Yeah, so that brought in some you can see some grass. There's the before, there's the after. Kind of brought in some grass, like she was kind of sitting near the water. Also, one thing that I thought the client really wanted, they wanted this to kind of feel more painted. So using new Photoshop, I went through and just with a brush, just actually started brushing over the photograph and kind of giving a new painted, kind of a cool little painted look. So let me zoom in and show you kind of that effect. So this is without the effect. You can actually see all the detail here. But then once we added that painted effect, you can see it kind of gives it more of an illustrated look. You can actually see the brush strokes, things like that. So let me actually pull back a little bit more. So that's this is kind of the painted effect, and it's just going through with your brush and brushing out the extra detail. It's just kind of making it look more painted. And so the one thing I mentioned earlier was the hands. They were not quite happy with the hands. So what we did was we removed the hand and the sword, and we created a new sword here, and ultimately put in some new hands. You can see these look kind of a little bit too bright, and we darkened all that up and fixed all that. And I went through and did an overall color adjustment to it, just trying to again make it pop where it needed to pop. Here's some more little things, bringing her face out, and then ultimately bringing in all the text. And so this was the final front and back, and pretty fun project, pretty straightforward once you kind of break it down into these different elements. So yeah, big thanks to the author and the opportunity to work on this, and yeah, that was it. Thanks.